You said we're gonna do something to your brain.
Pew pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Diddle, it's Dead Air 2. I've been practicing. Welcome. This week, Christina and I are talking about Reddit, jury duty, Apple Vision, that's Google glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Boris Johnson. Ooh, we're in for an exciting time, perhaps.
You also wrote tea.
I did write tea. Well, do you want to start on tea?
If you want to. I just had some tea.
It was a very quick thought about tea.
What's your thought about tea?
Christina has started buying fruity tea. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. There's no caffeine in it.
No.
So I was kind of thinking, like, well, people have pine needle tea.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an ancient thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking that if there wasn't an abundance of pine trees, you could possibly, package that and sell it for $3.99. But because there is, no one would buy it. No one's going to buy some pine needles.
You're wrong about that, because people spend like $20 a pound on pine nuts.
Which
you can also just go find. But I think it doesn't happen every year. Like, they only, every so many years, pine trees drop.
Pine nuts.
Pine nuts with, pine nuts in them, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, well...
Good idea for a side gig, though. Go to a pine forest and start collecting pine nuts.
Wasn't there a walnut tree in question at some point? Someone's walnut tree? Someone who maybe is related to you had a walnut tree that they realised was worth like 50 grand. Mm-hmm. But it's like 2 inches over into government property.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's like, how can we finagle that? How can we how could this blow into my yard?
She has like a massive walnut tree on the edge of her property, but it's just into the government land. So
yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
It probably is worth a lot.
Yeah, because in Kentucky, people have plots of land that is surrounded by minefields. Minefields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we call the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah. What do they even want that land for?
It's
just historically theirs,
I don't know.
Right?
I mean, it's really close to the dam, so I don't know. And I'm pretty sure that's all theirs, and they maintain it. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, that leads me to Gunnersbury Park. I remember one of the stipulations of how they would do the hedgerows, I think was you cannot have... Gunnersbury Park is a big park in London. There was something back in the day, like 10 years ago, where there was some rule about, like, they couldn't have their hedges too high in case you put an AA gun there.
What?
Or they couldn't be too low. I can't remember if it was for AA guns or against AA guns.
Something to do with guns.
It was either like, we don't want enough space that people could put an object to shoot down an aircraft there, or we do want that.
Where was this?
Gunnersbury Park. It's in like West London.
Oh,
it's a big park.
Right. Interesting.
Have we lost them?
Tea.
Well,
that's all you had about tea?
Just
How many cups of tea do you drink in a day?
4?
That's about right.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Do you count top-ups? Because in that case, it's like 8.
Yeah, but I only top up that fruity tea.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And I only drink that out of contempt.
Uh-huh. That's what it sounds like when you're like, can I have a blueberry?
That's how I talk, yeah.
That's how you talk.
Blueberry. Yeah, Twitter. Alright, so let's start the actual video.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jury Duty. A series
on
Amazon, not that one. Which, incidentally, we did watch the Pauly Shore Jury Duty like a month ago. Mm-hmm. Just because it was free somewhere. And I was like, oh, Pauly Shore, this will be a laugh. Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah.
It was, but maybe not always in the way it was intended. I don't know. Should we do a quick summary of that Jury Duty? Not that it matters.
Pauly Shore decides to disrupt the judicial process.
Yeah.
Because he's lonely.
Because he lives in his mom's trailer and doesn't work, and she feeds him, and then she's leaving to go to Las Vegas and get married. Uh-huh. So he gets a jury duty summons, and then he realizes they put him in a hotel and feed him. So he just tries to delay the process wherever possible so he can keep staying in a nice hotel.
So that's the story of something we're not talking about.
Yeah. Jury duty.
Yes,
jury duty.
Explain that.
Okay. A series on Amazon, on Prime Video, you're supposed to call it.
You're not meant to call it Amazon?
No. I remember when we were looking at stuff for Collaborator, they have all these stipulations. You cannot say it's on Amazon Prime Video. You have to say just Prime Video. Very specific.
Why? Branding. Well, obviously branding,
yeah.
but why?
I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, we're already getting off topic. So Jury Duty series on Prime Video. It's described as a mockumentary comedy. So there's one real guy on a jury full of just actors, and the entire courtroom is like nothing but actors, and the plaintiff and defendant and everything. It's basically like punked, but
I'd say it's more like if you had The Office, but not even Tim, like sort of a slightly more ancillary character was not in on it.
Yeah, it was very...
Like, they could have completely eliminated Ronald, who's the guy who doesn't know what's going on. And they, I mean, not saying they should have, but they could have cut him out and made a sort of okay sitcom.
I was saying that to you when we were watching it, when I was like, this almost feels like they wrote like an Office-style mockumentary, and then we're like, what if we put a guy in there who's not an actor?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be fun?
But if they did that, then they didn't write 4 episodes. They didn't write 8 episodes. They wrote like 4, because there's a lot of like dead air in it.
Yeah,
That's the name of the show.
There's a lot of whole episodes where Ronald, the guy who doesn't know what's going on,
and he does look like Mac.
kind
of.
Yeah, heretofore referred to as Mac.
Mac. Well, who's Mac?
Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, but what's his name?
Rob McElhenney.
Rob McElhenney. It's not one word. Rob McElhenney.
Shut up. So, yeah, he kind of does look like him. And yeah, they're...
Not Paul.
They're...
Paul. Yeah.
There are like whole episodes where there's like very little of him. Where like they get his reactions to stuff, but it's much more like an Office-style, scripted...
Yeah.
Mockumentary style.
Everyone else around him is very scripted.
Yes.
And they've got all these plans, it shows us in the last episode, of if something happens and he decides to react this way, we'll do this.
Yeah, all these like plans for... Yeah. And yeah, the actual case that they're on, it's like a guy goes to work at like a textile company, and according to the plaintiff, the owner of the company, this guy came to work like drunk and high and destroyed some equipment and printed a bunch of wrong t-shirts. And she's suing him for like $1 million or whatever.
Yes, and you also forgot that he passed out, they said. He passed out underneath the equipment printing t-shirts, and as t-shirts were like piling on top of him and he was like, he shit and pissed himself.
Well, they said pissed at first, but then that became a point of contention for the jury.
What do they mean by bowels?
Was it a poo-poo or a pee-pee? There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the way the show is set up makes it seem like they kind of set it up like, you can kind of see behind the American judicial process, but no, you can't. There's all kinds of stuff that just doesn't work that way, and it was interesting because they had to find a guy for their non-actor who would
Ronald.
Be like
the subject, really.
The subject, nice guy, well-meaning, but not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so he doesn't catch on to what's going on.
Well, I'm sorry, we couldn't go to university for a semester.
Well, it just seems so, like...
To study...
Obvious, but I don't know, it is...
Yoga.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it is LA, so maybe that's how it worked out. Like, yeah, there's weird people here. Like, this seems normal to me. Maybe.
You mean his reaction to it?
Yeah, his reaction to everything. Because there's some really ridiculous stuff that is funny. The chair pants, I mean, I don't know. I guess...
there's funny bits in it. One of the characters wears crutches he basically plays an autistic person, a caricature of.
Who's like really into technology.
Yeah, and it doesn't really, understand why people are like, what are you doing, and all of that. That's funny. Yeah, he has pants that have crutches on the back so he can sit anywhere. Yeah, it's funny, and it's just well, we had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, we had mixed feelings.
I definitely did.
After the first episode, we were like, you especially were like, I don't want to watch this. This is lame.
It does sound like me. Yeah.
I was like, well, let's try it. And then we kind of got into it a little more as some of the episodes went on. Like, okay, this is making me laugh, like, every episode, which I can't say for every comedy. You know, I got some laughs, you know, everyone.
Yeah. And there were characters I liked. I liked Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I like I think her name was Barbara, the old woman.
Yeah, you really like the old lady.
I
Like
thought she was
every
brilliant.
time she talked, you were like, oh.
Yeah, seriously, make a film around her.
Yeah.
Just doing stuff.
Yeah, you said that by the end. She needs her own TV show.
Yeah.
Like playing that character.
Yeah, her own TV show. Like I can't remember. I think Barbara was her character's name. I don't know the actor's name.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just have like an episode of like Barbara has a problem with the laundrette.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
The coin eats her
Yeah.
thing. And then by the end of the episode, she's accidentally got high with a group of people around the back.
She was very funny.
She thought she was smoking weed, but it was like meth. And now she's like folding everything. And
she kept getting in trouble with the judge early on for falling asleep in the jury box.
she wasn't falling asleep. She was just looking down.
She was just closing her eyes for a minute. Yeah. Kept getting in trouble. And then the judge is like, you better have 2 cups of coffee over break. And she's like, comes back and talks to Ronald. And she's like, I got a cookie. It's got... What'd she say? It has sativa and amphetamine. And then when she comes...
dextrine.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like an anti-narcolepsy.
And then she comes back to the jury box and is like clapping. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some funny stuff.
Do you like clapping on aeroplanes?
What?
Do you like clapping at the end of...
I heard you. Oh, in the movie. Is that what you're talking about?
What, the movie Clapping on Aeroplanes?
What are you talking about?
That Wes Anderson movie. No, when the aeroplane lands successfully and you haven't, all been consumed by a fireball, you clap for the pilot at the end.
Is that what they do?
Yep, basic etiquette.
I have to take you for your word because I haven't been on a plane since I was like 5.
And if no one is clapping, you should clap like really loudly at people and like look at them.
Yeah, they love that. Yeah.
Come on, what did you do? Yeah, have a wank. I saw it.
Yeah, they love it.
They love it. Yeah.
Dead air.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Jury duty. So, yeah, I mean, it was funny, and Ronald seems nice.
He just seems, and he, like you say, he's not the sharpest tool. I think I describe him more as naive.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
I mean, I don't know how old he was or is.
20s.
Well, yeah, I mean, like no offense. I mean, who am I to talk? But he's got this like haircut, which really, for me, obfuscated his age. Because it's kind of like an old man haircut, but he wasn't an old man. Sort of like an old man who was like, back in my day, it was all about getting a tattoo on yourself in the Navy and having a wank over that. I just stopped saying wank.
Yeah. So Ronald, age undetermined.
Mid-20s. He was just naive, but he got
mid-20s.
really into...
Yeah, once they really got into deliberations, he was like, and especially even a little earlier than that too, he was like actually into getting to the truth of the case because they set it up where, obviously you have the crew and, the writing and everything kind of directing him in this way, but they kind of set up little clues that the story that the business owner, the plaintiff, was telling may not have been true, and he gets into like actually trying to find out if this guy's guilty, which is interesting because at the beginning, like all the jurors are talking about, like Ronald included, like the plaintiff, like she looks really well put together and confident, and he looks like a schlub with his long
but that's
hair.
less meaningful when that is scripted.
I know that's a problem that we persistently had with it is that we kept saying kind of early on, if you want to do this whole like a comedy, but also kind of peek behind how juries work.
Because it was kind of trying to do that.
It was kind of trying to do that, but I think you need more than just Ronald in order to pull that off in terms of real people on the jury. Because if you had like 4 or 5 people, then you might actually like get a sense of, what a jury...
Prejudices and biases.
And their way of thinking. But not really, because they would still be selected from people who are willing to go on TV, so...
Yeah, I don't think we've even got to why we had a problem with it.
Oh yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically what happened was this guy thought he was doing jury duty, compulsory jury duty, and that someone was also filming a TV show or a documentary about this is a unfettered access to the judicial process, a normal trial. Usually we don't see cameras in the jury room where they're deliberating, but this time we will. He thought it was that. They sold him on that. And then they sequester the jury. Again, he thinks that's, like, he's legally compelled now to stay in.
Yeah, he's like, I had to look up what sequester means.
Yeah, and
Normal dude,
then
I
he
guess.
found out that means I have to stay in a hotel and not talk to anyone and not watch the news or not look stuff up on the internet or whatever for 2 weeks. And he thought that was legally binding.
But then they let him go out to bars and stuff.
Does
anyway.
that not have? Is that not like in a legal grey area where he was? Like he thought he was being legally compelled then to stay in the hotel, and he wasn't because none of it was real. So is that not kind of kidnapping?
Deceptive, perhaps. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely deceptive.
I mean, without knowing the contract that he signed and exactly what it says, it's hard to say. But this is where we had more of an issue. Is when we get to there's 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of episode 7, after they've delivered the verdict, the judge reveals to Ronald that everybody else is an actor and none of this is real. We've all been lying to you for 3 weeks. These people that you thought were your friends, they're all fake.
Yeah.
But we're going to give you $100,000.
Yeah. 60 after tax.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Unless he has haircutting related business expenses.
And he's kind of horrified.
Yeah, you can see when it's revealed, he's like, what? And you can see him like trying to take it completely in good faith.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, here's $100,000.
That's definitely part of why they picked him, is he's kind of relaxed and...
Yeah.
Because he could have gone mental.
And they make a big deal, the judge does, in this reveal about, like, you did the right thing always, and we think that you're a hero, and this is all about you, and everybody claps. And yeah, but you can still see, like, because then they go into the last episode is like a behind-the-scenes thing, where they're taking him back to, like, their hidden studio and showing where all the hidden cameras are and stuff like that, explaining how they did it. And he still has this, like, look of shock.
And he's still asking the actors.
And he's still nice, but he's still, he keeps asking people, like, was that real? Was that story real?
So were you really into technology? Like, no. I'm an actor.
Yeah, and it was just a bit...
And he made friends with some of them, and...
Yeah, I think that rubbed both of us a little bit the wrong way at the end.
It was exploitation.
Yeah.
And, like I was saying to you, I'd have wanted way more than $100,000 for that.
Oh, I would, I mean, before I even left that conversation with the judge, be like, let's talk 250. And
I'm telling you, I'd be like, you got me locked in. You don't want me to say any of this. You got me locked in. Sure, I've signed this contract that apparently you're allowed to, like, pretend to sequester me. We'll see what a fucking lawyer thinks about that. But that can all go away. $1 million. Let's start at $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, who knows after they stop recording when...
Even if you got me locked in, even if there's no legal recourse, I'll go on TV and I'll say these people tricked me. I'm like that.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even mention one of the best parts of the series that actually added a lot. James Marsden is one of the jurors. Cyclops from the Bryan Singer X-Men movies. Also, he's in the Sonic movie. He plays himself because it takes place in LA, and it's hilarious. He's constantly he's basically playing himself as like a douchebag actor.
A desperate one as well.
Trying to get out of it constantly. He's constantly telling people, like, did you know I was in Sonic? And stuff like that.
Who was he in Sonic?
He was the main character in the Sonic movies, in both of them. We watched them.
He was Sonic?
No, not Sonic, the main human character.
I thought that was, Star-Lord.
No.
Man, they all look the same to me, all these white dudes.
They do look kind of similar, yeah. I mean, those two do look a little similar.
They've all got, like, the same LA tan. Like, I don't know, have you ever heard people say, like, oh, I can tell that tan's from Saint-Tropez? Or whatever, like it's a different tan. I don't know if it's true. Oh, I can tell you've got a real...
Sounds like nonsense.
I can tell you've been on safari, you've got a real bush tan.
And do you have a farmer's tan or not? Those are the only tans I can distinguish between. The tan of somebody that works.
I've got the same tan as Dale from...
Chills.
Beverly King of the Hills? King of the Hill. Beverly Hill. Dale.
You want to try again?
What's next?
Okay.
Are we done on jury duty?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there to say. Just James Marsden was very funny in it.
Yeah, I thought the acting was funny. All the characters were funny.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't mean or anything, but it was.
But it did feel deceptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, mixed feelings, but it was fun. I don't regret watching it.
It felt immoral.
Yeah, it did feel immoral, especially by the end. I mean, yeah, definitely should have paid him more than $100,000.
But even then.
Even then, yeah.
If they'd have come in at $1 million, I'd have been like 10.
Yes, I'm sure you would.
They paid him $100,000. They were doing it for at least 12 days.
They said it was like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
How they must have done another couple of weeks of rehearsal before that.
Yeah, and
did James Marsden get paid $100,000 for doing 6 weeks of work?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he?
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
But
yeah, and he was very funny though. They're like doing a tour of the factory, and James Marsden like, "Did we lose Cyclops?" And he's like pretending to be a working man inside.
Fucking with people's punch cards.
He's like, "I gotta clock out," and like just sitting in like a forklift.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
Well, they may not know. God.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Would you recommend anybody check it out?
Yeah, I mean, what's it on Prime?
Yeah.
I mean, it's free if you've got Prime, and you've got some time to kill, watch anything. Watch Peppa Pig if you've got nothing else to do.
I was thinking like a rainy Sunday afternoon.
Where you're doing something else, where you're shining the billiard balls.
Yeah, doing something else. It was alright. But it did make me a little at the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Mm-hmm. Next on the list, we have Apple Vision Pro.
Wow.
Yeah, Apple Vision Pro. What did they say? $3,500.
$3,500 for complete integration.
Yeah.
Were you not impressed by the foam that they've put around it?
Yeah, I know, the commercial, like, it's got foam. Ooh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, all that I kept thinking about, like, reading about this was Google Glass, which was just literally, like, glasses with, like, a little thing on it, and nobody wanted to wear that because it made you look like a fucking dork. Yeah. But people are going to wear this giant thing around their head. I don't know.
But it wasn't... Okay, so before we get on to why you hate it, what is it?
The computer screen for your face.
It's a VR headset.
Headset.
Next generation.
Yes, you can.
Game changing.
They were showing like you can see. It'll be like watching, one of your favorite movies on like a giant screen. It'll simulate that. Like who's gonna wear this? I don't know how much it weighs, but it looks not comfortable. I'm not wearing that to watch a movie. And like anytime you move I don't know. It just seems weird. Like what if I want to reach for a tea?
You can see through it.
Yeah,
just look at it
and
and it can project a big TV when you don't have a TV, and that'll stay there. So you can look for your tea, get your tea, and then look back.
Right. Will I be able to make a bacon sandwich?
Yeah.
While watching movies.
It'd be better for that because
dangerous.
you won't get splatter on your face. You can get oil spitting at you.
Foam. It's got foam.
It does have foam.
It's got foam. Yeah, what else were they saying about it? Dead air. Yeah, watch movies and drunk, I guess.
Yes, and apps are in 3D now.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And you're forgetting one of the things they mentioned in their preview thing. I have your full attention, right? Yeah. Do you not remember? They said that for like their virtual world, that the headset is going to scan your face.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's like scan your face like Sims 1 type, when you could scan your face and put it on a Sims, and it's got like, and just like 2 planes for the face, but your eyes like stretched over it.
I mean, will anybody use that? Like, I feel like a lot of people that want to have like an avatar.
Are not people?
Are
not millions and millions of
themselves.
people using the metaverse right now, like as robots and unicorns and things?
They're all anime girls, I'm pretty sure.
Big titty
avatars. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that something like I just feel like we're not there yet to where that's at a place where it can actually, be unique and innovative enough to where it can actually replace something else.
I suppose that, trying to explain what it is sort of reveals that it's not really that innovative. It's not really solving a problem.
Yeah.
Like a phone would. Like that's a good invention. I can have a little computer with me at all times.
Yeah, you wrote
play games on it and stuff.
You wrote down refinement, not innovation.
Yeah, it's like a refined VR headset. I mean, I know it's a bit more than that. But it's not, it's not a new product where I would go, I've got to have that.
Yeah.
You know, for any reason. I mean, this is obviously the pro version. I don't see what you would use it for in a professional setting.
Well, knowing Apple, my guess is that
Because
they're...
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
This is going to be directed towards, like, early adopters.
Yeah.
Who, you know, have loads of money to burn and want to get there first, you know. Because $3,500, I mean, you could buy 3 decent PCs for that, you know.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, yeah, I can see that, and you know, there's going to be like fans of technology with too much money who'll buy it just to have it and use it, play it with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like I don't know. I just got the sense that they, same with Meta, they want this to be like a business, have a business application. But like I used to work in the corporate world briefly, and yeah, it was definitely annoying. People would like, oh, put your camera on. Like, we don't need our cameras on, right? Just phone me and tell me what the fuck to do.
Even better, send me an email.
And I will do it. Yeah, a phone call's fine. I'm not one of those people who doesn't like phone calls. Just phone me, because you can just sort it out right there and then. Like, you don't need a response. Just phone me and tell me what to do, and I'll do it. I don't need to like talk to you.
Yeah.
And I don't need to see your face. But the reason that was happening was because, well, my laptop has a camera in it anyway. I don't lose anything by turning it on. I mean, you know, apart from a bit of my soul.
Yeah.
But like, who's going to be like, yeah, let's get the C-suite fitted out with these so we can all be in our own homes, but pretend we're in the board together. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, that was like the same thing that Meta was trying to do, if you remember those fucking commercials. You know, you can be like Xbox One avatars at a conference table with no legs, and this will make us work better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Why, yeah.
Yeah.
Voice is fine.
Yeah, just, I don't know what you're getting from it. I mean, maybe there are some applications where it'd be useful, like, I don't know, say like you do like 3D modeling stuff and you want to share with a coworker or something you're making, and you can do that like in a 3D like shared visual space, and you can like move your head around it to see it and stuff. That could be fun, I guess, but you can also just send each other your AutoCAD file or whatever.
Yeah, and I can see how, not this, but a very similar product that's more specialized. I think I've seen people use it, like heart surgeons and things, where it is a very basic, like, augmented reality where they will just see the stats of the patient, you know, like beats per minute, so they don't have to look. That's really useful.
That sounds useful, yeah.
But you don't need this for that.
No, you could,
You know,
something
Google Glass could do that. You don't really need it to be smart if you're just doing that. Just a literal piece of glass with an inlay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I want? All the stuff we see in sci-fi movies with like an armband with a computer on it. I want a Pip-Boy.
You want a Pip-Boy? Why?
Yeah.
You've got a Pip-Boy, but you don't have to have it like surgically attached to your arm.
Because it looks cooler to do it like that.
To do it like that and have everything in like one tone of green.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it was giving you like real life feedback, like, yeah, you've got an IQ of 101? What?
Yeah.
A charisma of 3? What does that even mean?
Yeah. I mean, God, people who have like Apple Watches, they're like, you're too stressed. Like, Jesus. Not helpful.
Is that what it says? How does
You don't
it know...
sleep well, thanks. I know.
Your life sucks. How does it know you're stressed and not like having sex?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one, I don't know. But I know it like gives you like health stuff.
Creepy.
Walk more steps
Definitely
today,
collecting that
I
and then
think.
feeding that to a health insurance provider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they do actually. I want to say that there are health insurers that like recommend getting a Fitbit, and I don't know.
Yeah. Do you remember that thing with the Fitbit in a school district like several years ago where they were going to withhold teachers' bonuses unless they wore a Fitbit and walked like 4,000 steps a week?
I don't remember that, but
yeah.
That's funny. I mean, 4,000 a week, that's like nothing.
No, well, whatever. I don't know
whatever
what
it is,
was,
yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Can you believe they can do that?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, in Mexico, I used to know teachers, and when they all got down there, each one, as they came in, it was all the same. Like, you're going to be paid whatever, 14,000 pesos a month. Well, I don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turns out, actually, we're paying you 13,000 pesos a month and giving you 1,000 pesos in Walmart vouchers.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I have heard of stuff like that.
That should be illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, are we done on Google Glasses?
I don't know. The Google Glass. Yeah.
What would you... I remember years and years ago, probably like mid-2000s, way before Google Glass, I remember there was a commercial on British TV, and I don't even think it was for the product showing. It was like... whoever, like, it was like, Dell, this is how good we are. You can't buy this, but this is how good we are. One of those.
Right.
And it was someone with glasses, like, sitting outside, and they were doing an Excel sheet on their glasses, and it was like, it wasn't see-through or anything. It was a little visor that was like that big, like right in front of their face. And like, they were doing Excel, and they could see like, they were doing like that, I think. And they could see like 6 cells at once. On an Excel spreadsheet. Like, when's that going to be useful?
It's not useful, yeah. Yeah.
Like, have you been caught in the middle of nowhere, but you really need to finish this Excel sheet, and it's not worth busting the laptop out?
Yeah. And also, you want to be distracted by the sounds of parks and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't really get it.
Alright.
Yeah.
What have we got next then?
Yeah, next. Alright, tell me about the Reddit API stuff. And they're trying to get an IPO.
Oh, right, yes, okay. Alright.
I'll keep it short, you know.
No,
it's too stressful for you.
Right here. Okay, so Reddit has been, from what I understand, trying to go public for a little while. And there are all sorts of sort of funky valuations with it, where I think they're valuing it, or trying to value it, at 15 billion. But like a lot of valuations, like, what's that based on, really? But anyway, they've been sort of like trying to push for that. And what's happened is Reddit API, which is application personal interface. Application program interface, there, got it. I'm a tech person. What it is anytime there's a request on Reddit, like an upvote, a downvote, a comment, a like on a post or whatever, that's a single API request. And for third-party apps to work, or for most of them to work, they need the Reddit API. So if someone builds like a Reddit app for a particular phone or for whatever, they need Reddit API, you know, the sort of basic building block data. And Reddit have decided to reprice their API, which has been historically quite low in the industry, from what I understand. And they've repriced it in such a way that it's going to push all the third-party apps off. And this came to front page Reddit attention, I think, on Thursday. And it's been at the top of Reddit before. The Apollo app, which is a third-party app specifically for iPhone. I think it's about 8 years old. It's a very widely used app. It's used by a lot of moderators and developers and things like that. Basically, the guy who runs that, I think his name is Christian Selig, he was talking to Reddit. They basically announced this in April, that they were going to change their API pricing. And their API pricing is obviously intended to push people off, because it's gone from to get the same API information, he would have to pay, instead of tens of thousands of dollars a year, I don't know the exact figure, it's like over 20 million a year.
Right.
Yeah, and he even brought in an example where he uses, I think he's got a different app, I'm not sure, he uses the API from Imgur, and he's grandfathered into an old contract with Imgur, and he pays something like $160 for 50 million API requests. So it's not a part of the social media industry that has typically charged a lot of money and made money from it, because, you know, ideally, third-party developers are actually kind of beneficial, you know, and yeah, charge them something maybe because it's your data and it's not free to just, you know, deliver data, I guess. Anyway, this happened, and then, you know, this was quite public, and then what happened was Reddit have sort of been under fire from many corners of Reddit community, Reddit posters, and Reddit posted a big thing, sort of, I think in the mod subreddit, explaining a bit about what they're doing and a bit about the API, and in this big list of what they're doing, it mentions Apollo. And it says that Apollo tried to threaten us. They tried to blackmail us for $10 million in the last call we had, which people knew they were having but weren't privy to. It turns out that Christian Selig, the guy who founded and runs Apollo, it turns out he lives in Canada. And in Canada, recording phone calls is one-party consent. And he recorded the phone call and he's uploaded it. And he did not threaten that. He said $10 million would buy Apollo, and then the problem would be over. He definitely didn't threaten it.
Yeah, right.
And people rightly say that Reddit lied about this. And people are calling for, well, they're doing a blackout, a 48-hour blackout.
You said our videos.
Lots of them. Our videos aren't doing a 48-hour blackout. Our videos have now said that they're going to turn the sub private indefinitely until Reddit goes back on this, which they say probably won't happen, and I agree. So all of this has happened, and then yesterday, so we're filming this on Saturday, so Friday, the CEO of Reddit, Steve something, his username is Spez. He's been CEO since at least 2015, I think 8 years. He did an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, and at the top of this AMA, as you would suspect, it's all questions about Apollo. Relevant questions, respectful questions. What are you doing with this? Why have you done this? Why have you priced this app out? I love this app. This app helps me. No responses to any of those. Not that it matters, but people noted that he responded to something like 14, 15 questions, something like that. And one of the questions, one of his answers started with a : making it look like he'd copied it from a Word document.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and he you know, just, and then I think in the AMA, but at least somewhere else, Spez, the CEO, who hasn't otherwise posted in like 10 months on Reddit, doesn't use Reddit, talked about Apollo and said, Apollo will say one thing and then the other, and we don't know what's going on, we don't know if we can work with him, and then he leaked this private call. He didn't leak it, he published it, he said, I'm publishing it, and it was his legal right to record it, and it turns out he was right to do it.
Yeah.
Because they lied about him.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, like I say, the Reddit community is the Reddit community. You know, different communities are pretty pissed off about this.
Yeah.
And it genuinely looks like the beginning of the end of Reddit, or Reddit as it once was.
Yeah.
So
George loves Reddit, by the way.
Uh-huh.
He said it's your favorite social media.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But, you know,
you never comment though, right?
Look, I don't have an account.
Yeah, right. You just read it.
I just have the app, and I
Same.
just read it. I never comment.
Yeah,
I don't have an account, like I say. Yeah. But I like it. The reason I like Reddit is because it's the only social media platform I can think of where it's not about individuals. Like some of the best comments I've ever read, I don't know who they are. They're not promoting themselves. They're not promoting anything. And you can find genuine information. Like you have like an old 1976 Peugeot a la Colombo, and you want to know how to fix the gasket. You can find that stuff. Like people will talk about it, and it's free and accurate.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, there's lots of bullshit on it, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah, it's genuinely a good tool, and I think socially good. and it's terrible what's happening. But not surprising, because they've said, the typical spiel, typical corporate spiel, we want to work with third-party developers, but they don't. They clearly want to get rid of them, merge everything into a single app, push up their value for the IPO. I get that makes sense, but you're a social media company. The user experience and user loyalty is really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing on that.
No, I was just thinking. Yeah, you were talking about it's not surprising because this seems to be what a lot of social media companies do,
Well, again, on Reddit, one of the articles writing about now, I'll link it. It's from Cody Doctorow on Wired. It's actually about TikTok. It's from January of this year. It's called The Enshittification of TikTok. And he or she goes through what's happening with TikTok and explains. But I think, for brevity, a better way of explaining the idea of enshittification is if you look at Facebook started off as being very usable and unintrusive. It's definitely like looking behind the scenes at you. But it was easy to use and you could connect with people. It was useful for the user. That's stage one. And then stage two, make it useful and profitable for companies advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they did this by having, good deals on promotion and stuff like that, but also by inflating their video numbers. So what they did was they said that a view is anything over 3 seconds. But that doesn't help when you're scrolling through Facebook and things autoplay. Like, am I going to scroll faster than 3 seconds? Because if I'm not, that's a view, apparently.
Yeah, right.
And, companies like College Humor, were sold by Facebook, like, we've got all these great views, like pivot to video, and they did, but the stats were bullshit. They got suckered, and I think they suckered and shuttered. But eventually, it gets to a point with a lot of these companies, Cody Doctorow argues, they become locked in. So even if it is successful, they become locked in and they start to depend on Facebook for their traffic. So they'll get sort of, coaxed in with, we're getting really good traffic on Facebook, we should start to put money into advertising, not just rely on organic traffic, let's advertise. And then once they get into that, they get good results with advertising, but then as time goes on, those results diminish to the point where they can't get any reach with just organic traffic. And you can see the same with Twitter, where it used to be you could come across widely retweeted single tweets from small accounts, and it was like the only tweet that had ever been massively retweeted because it was a funny tweet or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's harder and harder to see now. It's mostly big accounts you see.
Yeah, and especially doesn't help, in the last year or so, however long since Musk took over, the various things that have changed.
So phase 3, sorry.
No, just like verified accounts being at the top.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems way less organic.
Phase 3 is you turn the attention to increasing shareholder profitability, which makes things less good for users and less good for content creators, advertisers, but you've locked them in, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and then you can start to be like, well, sure, you preferred Facebook when it wasn't full of shit, but it is now. Where are you gonna go? Everyone's on here. You're already connected, and you can see the same pattern with YouTube, to a certain extent. YouTube,
Daddy Google,
Daddy Alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the same with Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't look on Amazon for. I will never buy an electronic I'll never buy anything from Amazon if I can help it. Fuck them. But before that, I wouldn't buy an electronic product on Amazon because I wasn't sure what I was getting.
Yeah.
And it never used to be like that, and they could totally stop that if they wanted.
Yeah, you never really know. Yeah.
But Amazon's like one of the few places to go if you want a shopping cart full of like, I want a hard drive, and I also want some nails, and I also want some toothpaste, and
Yeah, definitely. It's just so, massive now, the amount of stuff that you can get on it, and they've secured their like distribution line so much that, it can be profitable to have people order like 5 completely disparate products and get them to you in like 3 days, for free if you have Prime, So they really locked it down. So I can see the connection there. What you're saying. Once you're already like stuck in, it's like,
Essentially, we're talking about monopolies.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you can argue for sure that there are enough social media companies where one does not monopolize social media, but they're all doing separate things, which they are monopolizing.
Yeah.
I mean, Reddit. What's the alternative to Reddit? Dig.
Yeah, I mean, for its particular style.
Go back
Reddit,
over to the Spenny forums.
The only one.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that, Reddit definitely, to me at least, seems, relatively unique in the way it's set up.
And what I really like about Reddit, and I wish YouTube did this, is I wish that you could see everyone's comments, everything they've ever commented. Because one of the reasons I got sort of into Reddit, I would occasionally look at it and stuff, but one of the things I started looking at, and it gave me a right old laugh, was there was a subreddit, like a weirdo gossip subreddit, called Salmon Toki. And Salmon Toki, from what I gather, were a husband and wife, like video game streamer couple. I think they might have been Mormons.
Right, okay.
They were really young, like 20 or something, and they were, kind of coming up. This probably was like 2015, something like that, and this happened before I even discovered it. But is this interesting? You want me to talk about this?
Yeah.
I guess what happened, from what I gather, I mean, people had made like charts and timelines. I think I'd seen a diagram of someone where these people were. What happened was they went to some sort of convention, and like they got a bit drunk, and then like she got gangbanged or something, like not raped. Maybe not gangbanged. Maybe just had sex, but then something. But this was obviously like people were aware of this in the public somehow, and they like shut down. They continued streaming and all this, but they like shut down and would not talk about it. And that just continued this sort of infatuation on this this subreddit. That's not how I found the subreddit. I found the subreddit because I used to watch Boogie. You're familiar with him.
Yeah.
And I noticed, not trying to start anything, but I noticed he started to kind of act a bit weird. And I would occasionally go over to his Twitch live streams, and they were very weird, like very different from his like, I'm a really nice guy and I've got some knowledge, and they were very weird and very like, unpleasant actually, like unpleasant. And
How so?
well, he would kind of be a completely different person. He would like in his videos, I mean, he was a really famous YouTuber for a bit. He had like millions of subscribers, and I think he still does. But he had a historic problem with his weight. He had like a eating disorder, and he was abused as a kid and went like through quite a traumatic adolescence. And he like talked about it really openly, and kind of in a kind of very superficial but kind way. And that was like his whole personality, and that's what people liked. And then you go into these Twitch streams where he'd be like talking about like cutting people's clitorises off, and just like as a joke, but like what? It was a bit weird, and all sorts of other shit, and kind of losing the plot a bit. And then it came out of nowhere that he and his wife were getting divorced, and his wife wasn't like part of the channel, but he would mention her, and I guess he'd gone on this journey from being like, you know, a fat loser with no friends to being this like celebrated person with a wife and, you know, a house and, you know, a life to aspire to. And, you know, it came out of nowhere, and again, we didn't get the full story. He didn't want to talk about it, which is fair enough. And so I was like interested, like, what's going on here? I went on to his Reddit, and his Reddit was like just like you know, his videos and people being like, "Yay, Boogie!" And then I found this other subreddit called Sam and Toki, where it had basically become about Sam and Toki, but they hadn't publicly said anything in years, so now it was about Boogie. It was the same sort of thing, and talking about him, and some of it was, you would get a lot of people go into it and talk about, I was a fan of Boogie for years and I feel so let down and I'm really confused, and there'd be posts like that and people talking, and some of it was like just vicious. Like people saying, like, there was like a picture somewhere of his wife and like her cousin or something, and people were like, yeah, she's definitely fucking him. You can tell,
right.
Like, you can tell by the body language and stuff.
It was kind of like cruelty then, perhaps.
Cruelty, but also, like, it was cruelty from people who said, I was a fan of him. But I don't know if that was always true.
Yeah.
Yes, there was definitely an element. I mean, there were lots of things going on, and the reason I started to go back to it wasn't because of what they were saying about Boogie. It was about how like mad they were. Kind of like the Spoony Reddit. He had a similar thing going on, where there were like just like 10 people posting every day about Spoony. Why do you care?
Yeah.
It got interesting. But anyway, the only Redditor I remember the name of ever is the guy who ran that sub. He was called Haberdasher A. Right? And he would post all the time in a very reasonable sounding way about like, I used to love Boogie, you know, I've known people like him, and he's 100% been cheated on by his wife. I'll tell you why, all this. And like ages and ages later, after I got into this, someone posted, yeah, Haberdasher A. I knew I'd seen your name before. Does anybody think that Haberdasher A is a bit too interested in cuckolding? Right, and it was a screenshot of one of his comments underneath a picture from a year before, and it was a picture of a man, a woman, and a gorilla in between them. And Haberdasher A's comment on a completely different part of Reddit was, "This is a nice picture, but does anyone think that the guy is smiling a bit too much? Like he's fantasizing about this gorilla fucking his wife?" And it just made so much sense when this was brought up. Like, yeah, of course, he's obsessed with that idea of someone fucking someone's wife, and he's just projecting it all. Like, to comment that on a... You're looking at me like I'm an idiot.
No, you're fine. I'm also, like, hearing all that in there.
Ooh.
Lay down, buddy.
It's fine.
Okay.
Dead air. Comments.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a whole lot to add. I mean, I do see Boogie on Twitter here and there still, and it seems like he's doing a lot of, you know, the stuff that he's been doing for a while.
Which is what?
Well, I mean, he still talks about like his mental health problems and stuff like that.
Okay.
He seems pretty open about it, which I can respect. You know.
For sure.
Yeah, and then, you know, if I look at comments on those, like, you know, it's Twitter. There's always a mix of people just being dicks, you know, like, people saying, like, oh, now all you do nowadays is whine on social media and beg for money. I mean, you know, whenever I see his post, though, he just is, like, you know, I mean, he tries to say, like, uplifting things every now and then, you know, like, you are worth something, and I hope everyone's having a good day, and meh, you know, people say.
Well, I think that part of that is people began to see that as cynical.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that happened with him, as I seem to remember, is, you know, he was very open about having weight problems because of PTSD and things like that. But then he decided to get a gastric bypass. And loads of people in all of the comments were saying, like, if you've got an eating disorder, a gastric bypass is not going to fix it. Because it's, I can't remember what it is. It's like 80% of bariatric surgeries fail because people can't stop eating.
They're highly,
it's a mental problem. And, and then I don't know if it's true, but people felt like the gastric bypass helped him lose weight to a certain point, but then he stopped losing weight, and then he may have felt the need to lie about it.
Right.
And I guess he had a lot of overweight fans who also struggled.
I think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
And
people felt
kind of betrayed.
Deceived or,
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll know you're a successful YouTuber when you can get all of your teeth removed and put back in for free.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's what he got done.
Really?
Yeah, he had really bad teeth. Again, not be nasty, he did.
Yeah.
He drank Mountain Dew every day. And, he got his teeth replaced with veneers for free for shouting out the doctor's name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. Shit's expensive. But yeah. Right.
You know the guy who was the lead singer for the Pogues? He's got really nasty teeth. And his producer got his, paid, probably in the 90s, probably loads of money, 30 grand, to get all his teeth redone. And he got his teeth redone, and he got home from hospital. He was a bit of a pisshead. Tripped over a grate and smashed all his teeth in.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Fun.
And then I seem to remember during that interview I saw him on, he had all these wonky teeth, and he was like, I can't be bothered. That's what I want to be.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Can't be bothered. Shit's expensive. They wanted 10 grand for whatever's supposed to be done for my teeth. I'm fucking doing that. Yeah. Yeah. Not anything else to say about Reddit or...
Well, I don't know. I mean, the way it's looking, I might stop using Reddit.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what happens, Yeah. I mean, I know you use it more than me, but I do pop in sometimes.
It's genuinely useful.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff on there.
What about Twitter? I know that Fidelity, which is a investment group, they have a small cut of Reddit, and 30 million, less than 1%. But they have recently reduced their value of their own stock by about 21%. So that's not going in the right direction. They want an IPO. They reduced their Twitter stock by 74%.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
Twitter stock has not been doing great.
I mean, if you want to talk conspiratorial, it's all an idea to get rid of these liberal platforms and no one will have a place to go.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think that.
Yeah.
Occam's razor tells us that Musk is a sausage.
That's right.
A silly sausage.
I think that's the simplest solution. He's a sausage. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there is to say about Twitter. It's a cesspool. I mean...
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, whenever I'm on, it's every other post is just people arguing about culture war stuff and...
Well, weren't you telling me the other day about snuff videos on Twitter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a report from the BBC that's coming soon that I was reading about saying that there's, I want to say that it was a Japanese dude on Twitter who uploads videos.
I knew it was either going to be Japanese or German.
Videos of women being sexually assaulted.
Or maybe Austrian.
Do you want to tell the story?
A Japanese, German, or Austrian dude. Yeah, well, go on.
Who runs a business having women sexually assaulted on trains and stuff in Asia, and has people working for him who do this and record it, and then he sells those videos online.
Yeah.
And you can find them on Twitter, or you could. It looks like his account might not be there anymore.
Well, can you not find them on Twitter now because he DRM'd them?
I don't know.
DMCA'd them?
I don't know.
It wasn't like Twitter's get rid of this. He was like, nope, you've got to pay for this content.
I think when it came out that the BBC was... I think they're getting ready to do a special, a 1-hour special about this. And they worked out his real name from his username. So I'm guessing when that happened, he probably disappeared from Twitter.
What was his username?
I can't remember.
I am not Ian Pierce.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of reports about, Twitter under Musk becoming much looser with certain kinds of content, so. We'll be out soon, dude. He's upset that he's not in a room with us.
Yeah. Our dog conquistador. Thanks, Reddit. I mean, when you say snuff films, then on trains, like, is it CCTV or is there like a camera crew like getting on a train and?
It's like people recording with like their phones. Is what it sounded like. Not snuff films, just like assault, like women being like grabbed and stuff.
Rape films.
They're not being. No, just assault, not rape.
Because snuff films.
Let's stop saying rape in this, because I want to make sure this gets monetized.
Snuff makes people get killed. Snuff is people getting killed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it's not that. No.
Oh.
Like women being groped, like teenage girls being groped on trains, and then the person doing it records it, and then they send it to this guy. He said he had like, I can't remember how many people working for him who send him like 30 to 100 videos per month, and then he sells them.
So would people doing this who are filming it, are they doing it for this? Mm-hmm. So they're not just
they work for him. They're employees.
They're actually okay.
He describes it as just being like a business, like a clever startup business. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
and where's this happening?
So he's from Japan, but I believe it said that most of the videos and like employees were in China, I think.
I mean, they better hope they're not going to get fucking rumbled.
Right?
The Chinese government would be like, oh yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm sure the Chinese government would love that stuff. I love it.
Oh, it looks like you need some re-education.
We have a nice farm you can go to. Yeah.
And by nice we mean death. Mm-hmm. Death farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put you on a rocket and blow you up in the sky.
Blow you up. Yeah. Just put them on a rocket, just keep it going.
Into the sun.
With air playing on repeat. Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, so that's bonkers. I mean, is he not worried about... Like, surely Visa can shut him down or something if he's taking online payments.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what... Because, like I said,
Visa. Surely SEAL Team 6 can locate him and blow his head off.
I'm sure. Like I said, the special hasn't come out yet. At least when I was reading it a couple days ago, they said it's like a 1-hour thing that's going to be coming out on BBC. But it wasn't out yet. It was just like early reports of what it is and what's in it. So... I'm sure there's more detail than that.
I mean, I am obviously appalled, but that does not seem clever.
No, sure doesn't. No.
No. Like a string of little ones. Like you should do one big one.
One big crime.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Just do little teeny tiny crimes.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
It's not as illegal.
So we've done snuff. What's else on the docket?
Next, Kenny versus Spenny. I don't know how much left.
We have been watching Kenny versus Spenny. Yeah. It's really good. It's a TV show. You can watch bits of it on YouTube.
Yeah. We probably watch it like once a year.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing through. Would you like to explain what it is?
Christina introduced me to Kenny versus Spenny, which was one of the reasons I knew that this was the woman for me, because it is about eating boogies. Simulated sex acts, misogyny, racism.
So it's two guys, Kenny Hotz and Spencer Rice, who are best friends, they like to say. And it's a sort of reality competition show. It's Canadian. And it's like
set in their house.
It's almost like a reality game show where the competition is different every week.
And the motivation.
But it's just the two guys. And the motivation is because whoever loses a competition will face a humiliation where you will do sometimes just silly, funny things, sometimes some vile, disgusting shit.
Like a tame humiliation might be Spenny has to dress as a baby and sit in a crib in public and have a tantrum. Mm-hmm. Give us aggressive humiliation then, if you can.
A grosser humiliation. I'm going to eat popcorn kernels and poop them out and then pull out the kernels, clean and dry them, and make popcorn with it and make Spenny eat it.
He doesn't make him eat it, though. He tricks him
into eating it. There's a lot of tricking Spenny in the show. Kenny is kind of like, at least the way he's played. I'm pretty sure it's like their real personalities just cranked up.
It's semi-scripted.
It's semi-scripted, yeah. Kenny is like a narcissistic... crazy asshole who
Yeah.
will do anything to win.
Yeah.
And Spenny is kind of a neurotic, well-meaning,
slightly patronizing,
slightly patronizing,
like upper middle class,
kind of annoying
Canadian Jew.
Yeah, they're both Jews.
They're both Jews.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of it, really.
It's actually, there's a number of episodes
about one of them being Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the better Jew? Yeah.
Who's the better Jew?
Like what are some of the other competitions they do? What are some of your favorite ones, favorite episodes? You think of any off the top of your head?
I mean, I think my favourite is one of the first you showed me, which was incredibly confusing. Who can pretend to be the other guy better?
Yeah, that probably wasn't a good choice for one of the first episodes.
No, it was. Okay. It was.
You can see what it's about doing that, yeah.
And Spenny kind of pretends to be Kenny, and Kenny just tucks his dick between his legs and starts screeching about, like, I want a vagina.
Yeah.
And things.
And, Kenny
pretending to
be Spenny, he's like leaving bloody dildos on his bed and stuff. like ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Just making fun of him directly.
Yeah.
As he often does.
With the aim of making Spenny break character, and therefore winning. Mm-hmm. It's always I wouldn't say cruelty is not the point. I think cruelty definitely is the point, but it's always got a flavour of, and I tricked you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, pretty much every episode, Kenny either cheats or tricks Spenny.
Yeah, which sounds boring, but it's not.
It's quite creative, some of the shit he does. It's pretty funny. I mean...
He convinces Spenny he has AIDS at one point.
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To win a...
Kenny convinces Spenny that Kenny's mom has died.
Yes, convinces him that his mom has died. Who can win a rat race? He pretends that he's going to murder Spenny's rat.
Yep, and then he gets a capybara.
Kidnaps it, and then gets a capybara and says, this is a rat.
South American jungle rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some other good ones. Who can be tied to a goat the longest? I enjoy that one. Very
Pilgor.
Simple. Pilgor. Yeah. Very simple on Kenny's part. They have a rope attached to their ankle and then attached to a goat that is going to be just with them all the time. So they put on tie the rope around their ankle and then say, go, competition, go. And then Kenny pulls out, he's got like 15 feet of extra rope. So Spenny's walking around with this goat like 3 feet away from him the entire time.
Yep.
And then Kenny wins by convincing Spenny that he killed the goat and butchered his goat, because it'll be easier to carry around.
Because he has a butchered goat with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it turns out it's not the same goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Spenny gets mad, takes it off, and Kenny wins. A lot of trickery.
A lot of trickery and, psychological bullying.
A lot of bullying, yeah. It's pretty offensive. Very offensive.
The most offensive episodes aren't on YouTube now.
Yeah, most of the episodes you can find for free on Kenny Hotz's YouTube channel, but there are some that are missing, yeah.
So we watched that this week, which is why we brought it up. If you're bored, you fancy some 2000s filthy reality TV, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Clyde Moe. He must know that we're getting close to the end here, I think.
Check it out. What else have we got?
Yeah. You wrote down Boris.
Boris. Yeah? Okay.
That's all you got? Okay.
Boris.
Boris
Johnson. You heard about this? You heard about this guy, Boris Johnson? You heard about him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's resigned as MP today.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Commons Privilege Committee, I think it's called, showed him a report before they publish it where they looked into allegations that he did not follow proper COVID protocols while he was Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he was accused of having parties in 10 Downing Street.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember.
Yep. Yeah. You remember? Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you know any of this.
During the pandemic when
it seems like 10 years ago to me. I read that and I was like, God, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he found out today or yesterday that this was coming out and made him look bad, really bad. So he came out and said, it's a kangaroo court.
Mm-hmm.
How dare they? I'm resigning now. And that's kind of big for someone who was Prime Minister, for that to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Britain, it's different to America where, your president, maybe one term, maybe two, but then that's kind of it. in terms of you being directly involved in politics. You know, Bush, Obama, Clinton, Peanut guy. Climo, shut up! Peanut, you know, Carter, they all kind of went off and did their own thing of like, I'm doing a foundation and I'm doing talks and right. Whereas in Britain, a lot of them will go back to the backbenches and just be an MP for a bit. And Tony Blair also made absolutely shitloads of money doing talks and various deals with his not CIA wife, according to the ghostwriter. Oh God,
He's a ghost and he writes to us.
Ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I thought that was
Okay.
kind of a big deal, and I wanted to ask you what your impression is of British politics, if you have one.
I don't have a strong one, no. I mean, it doesn't seem dramatically different from ours.
Okay.
Except for the occasional fist fights, I guess.
Is that in yours or ours?
Yours.
Oh yeah? You talking about that guy who had a bad pork pie got... Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Fist fights? Are you sure you're not like watching like the Slovakian parliament or something?
It could be. I don't remember. Yeah.
Whatever.
No, I don't know a whole lot about British politics. Just whatever I pick up from you.
But do you get... I mean, I'm not asking you about the political process. Just what's your impression? Like, do you think it's... How does it come across to you as an American? Does it come across as quaint? Or... fair? Or...
No, just different.
Is it something to aspire to?
I don't know. I mean, it definitely is odd to me to think of like having a House of Lords, you know. But I mean, we do have that. It's just not official. It's called lobbying. You know.
Yeah, and as I've pointed out to you, House of I mean, it is bizarre. Like we're going to internally vote you in, but then you're going to be a lord for life. The idea is that they don't have to worry about getting re-elected, so they can do the right thing. All these old farts. But in Britain, yeah, they kind of have. You know, they helped get gay marriage through and all this stuff, and
yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, how's that democracy?
Yeah,
House
I
of
mean,
Lords.
I kind of feel the same way about, you know.
I mean, it is. You know, it is. It's not. You know, it's not. It's not an autocracy. It's just that's not a complete democracy.
Yeah, and they're voted in for life. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, House of Lords are. I think, unless they change the rules.
Yeah.
I think there might be different positions now where some of it isn't for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the closest we have is the Supreme Court. We're voted in for life.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
I think that's wrong too. Yeah.
Get rid of all that. Jury back.
Jury back.
Yeah.
Not guilty.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't really 100% mean this, but like if you have law where you have to interpret it, you haven't written the law properly. A law should be like a computer. Like there's no interpreting this.
Yeah, I get you.
Like why do we have to have a debate about it? This is the law. I know that's...
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay.
No.
Bored of this.
Nice. I don't know if I have anything to say about...
I get the
British
impression
politics.
that British politics is a bit more cutthroat than American politics.
You think so?
In a different way. Yeah, I do. A bit more sort of, I mean, on your own team cutthroat. Like here, you know, it's very, you know, Democrats versus Republicans. And yeah, there's internal stuff, but I think in British politics it's you have no friends.
Yeah, I get you.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, there definitely are more... I think there are probably more divisions in American politics than people realize, you know. I mean, not every Republican is an alt-right person. You know, not every Democrat is a, you know, centrist Democrat, like a Clinters or Obama. You know, there are people much further to the left. I mean, it's a big country, you know. There's a lot of variety. But, you know, when you only are kind of really given two options, you know, it makes things seem more like binary than they really are, I suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying there needs to be a third party?
Well,
what would that third party look like?
There are third parties, and yeah, I mean, it just is meaningless, basically.
Oh.
You know,
So how would you change that then?
fuck if I know.
Well, get the money out of politics.
Get money out of politics would be a big one to help, and I think, you know, possibly not even, I don't know, a third party, you know, we have those, they don't really make a big difference. If we had like multiple different parties, maybe there could be a little more balance, you know.
I think
if it isn't like, you know, just so like, so distinct, you know, just two sides. Huh?
I think that they could do something where it's like, are you going to run for president in November? Okay, 1st of January, you've got to sign up, you've got to announce 1st of January, and from that point on, until you drop out of the race or win, no public appearances at all. You will put written policy out for public consumption, and it will be policy only.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be bananas, but no one votes here on policy. Well, no one votes anywhere on policy, probably, but I remember all the leaflets we got for, like, vote this guy for city councillor or whatever, and it's just like, I have a lot of experience with budgets bigger than the council budget. I worked for 30 years at a steel mill. Like, what do you believe?
Yeah, I get you. I mean, having some kind of, like, if you had, like, a set, like, rate of, like, campaign finance money that everybody gets and you're limited to, you know, which I'm sure a lot of Americans will hate that, like, you know, I should be able to give more money to the candidate I want, and then the free market will help sort it out, but that's not democracy. You know, whoever has the most money wins, which is often the case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to say then before we go?
Well, we were going to talk a little bit about Starfield microtransactions, but maybe we could save that for next time.
Okay.
You think?
Sure.
Because I probably have a lot to say about that. I'm looking forward to Starfield as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
So, anything else you want to say?
No.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for watching. See you next time. There'll be a normal video out next about nepotism. Every Sunday we're doing one of these, you know, until one of us dies and the other one it just potters around until they die.
It goes off to live in the mountains somewhere.
If you die, I'll just continue doing this.
Yeah.
Just with an empty chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a cardboard cutout of like Pamela Anderson or something. Yeah.
Okay.
A different woman every week.
I'll accept it.
Maybe I should do that anyway.
It's just gonna end up being you and the dog if anything happened to me.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright,
Good.
anyway.
Alright.
Yeah, see you next Sunday.
Love you. Bye bye.
Cheers.